But Baalbek, if there was one example, one ancient site on Earth that is evidence of a lost ancient advanced civilization,
Deep in the heart of Lebanon, where mountains rise above a broad, fertile plain, stands a platform of stone so massive, so flawlessly cut, that even modern engineers still debate how it was built. For thousands of years, Baalbek, ancient Heliopolis, the city of the sun, has stirred the imagination of travelers, scholars, and now artificial intelligence researchers searching for answers in its stones, new analyses, high-resolution mapping, and fresh discoveries in the quarries around the site are rewriting everything we thought we knew. From forgotten megablocks to newly exposed layers of ancient construction, the mystery of Baalbek is bigger, older, and stranger than anyone imagined. Could we finally be approaching the truth? Let's discover it together. A platform beyond imagination, it begins with stone. Stones so large, they defy comprehension. At the core of Baalbek's massive temple complex stands a foundation known as the Trilithon. 3 stones, each roughly 19 meters long and weighing around 800 tons. That's the equivalent of 10 blue whales or 2 fully loaded Boeing 747s per block. Even nearby, in the quarries just outside the city, lie unfinished giants. The famous Stone of the Pregnant Woman at around 1,000 tons, and the more recently discovered Forgotten Stone, which weighs an estimated 1,500 tons. To put that in perspective, the world's largest modern cranes, the kind used in shipyards and offshore oil platforms, struggle to lift anything beyond 200 tons. The builders of Baalbek were attempting such feats 2,000 years ago, with no steel, no hydraulics, and no machines. Who could conceive such a project? How could they possibly have moved these blocks? And why undertake something so audacious that it borders on impossible? The Bekaa Valley. A crossroads of civilizations, Baalbek sits in the Bekaa Valley, a fertile corridor stretching between the Lebanon and anti-Lebanon mountain ranges. This broad valley has served as a crossroads between the coastal cities of the Mediterranean and the great inland empires of Syria and Mesopotamia for thousands of years. Whoever controlled it held sway over trade, food supply, and the movement of ideas and armies. It is no coincidence, then, that this very spot, strategically central, agriculturally rich, and symbolically elevated, became the stage for one of the most ambitious architectural undertakings in human history. The site's sacred character stretches deep into prehistory. Beneath the Roman stones, archaeologists have found traces of continuous human presence going back over 9,000 years. Each layer tells a different story, each civilization building on the ruins of its predecessors. The Roman marvel, the ruins that dominate the site today, date to the Roman Empire. The Temple of Jupiter, once the largest temple in the entire Roman world, stood here, its podium rising above the valley, surrounded by courtyards, altars, and staircases that glowed golden in the Lebanese sun. Even in its ruined state, it remains breathtaking. What makes Baalbek unlike any other Roman site, however, is its foundation, the colossal blocks that form the podium's western retaining wall. Their precision is uncanny. The joints between the stones are so tight that even a razor blade cannot slip through. Each block is aligned with surgical accuracy, as if shaped by laser-guided machinery. Yet the Romans achieved this using hand tools, pulleys, and wooden cranes. How? Discovery of the Forgotten Stone in 2014, archaeologists made a discovery that forced experts to rethink everything. While excavating the ancient quarry of Hajar al-Hibla, a joint German-Lebanese team uncovered a colossal block that had been hidden beneath centuries of debris. The Forgotten Stone. Measuring approximately 19.5 meters long, 6 meters wide, and 5.5 meters high, it is the largest known carved stone block on Earth. Weighing nearly 1,500 tons, this discovery revealed something astonishing. The ancient builders were not only capable of moving massive blocks, but were preparing to move stones even bigger. The quarry showed evidence of systematic extraction, parallel chisel marks, tool grooves, and wedge holes, suggesting a highly organized operation. These were not crude experiments. They were the work of experienced engineers with a clear plan. But if such stones were prepared, why were some left behind? Perhaps a flaw in the limestone rendered them unsafe to move. Perhaps the project was halted by political upheaval or natural disaster. Whatever the reason, these abandoned megablocks remain as silent witnesses to an ambition that bordered on the impossible. Ancient layers and lost civilizations, excavations beneath. Baalbek's Roman remains have uncovered layers reaching deep into prehistory. Stone tools, animal bones, and primitive pottery show that people lived here as early as 7000 BCE. Over the centuries, the site evolved through multiple cultural phases: Neolithic, Phoenician, Hellenistic, Roman, Byzantine, and Islamic, each one leaving its own marks. The Romans began their monumental construction in the 1st century BCE, building upon existing foundations that may have been centuries older. Inscriptions link the grand phase of temple building to emperors like Augustus and Antoninus Pius, while coins and architectural fragments confirm continuous activity for nearly 2 centuries. Later, Christian communities transformed parts of the temple into churches, and Islamic dynasties fortified the site as a citadel. The result is an archaeological palimpsest, layer upon layer of human presence, construction, destruction, and rebirth. Was there an even earlier, forgotten civilization responsible for the largest stones? While that idea captures the imagination, current evidence points instead to a continuum of cultures, each inheriting, adapting, and reusing what came before. Baalbek's grandeur, it seems, was the product not of one mysterious builder, but of many generations driven by ambition and faith. The engineering puzzle. When archaeologists call Baalbek impossible, they mean it mathematically. Roman engineers were masters of cranes, capstans, and pulleys. Surviving records describe cranes that could lift up to 6 tons, occasionally more when several were combined. That's impressive. But Baalbek's stones are over 100 times heavier. How could they have been moved? Experimental archaeologists have tried to replicate similar feats. In Japan, researchers successfully dragged a 100-ton block using sledges over wooden rollers. In Europe, teams have moved 200-ton stones using tracks greased with oil or water. Yet even with these methods, 800 or 1,000 tons remains beyond tested limits. To raise such a block 7 meters onto the temple platform would require ramps, earthworks, or leverage systems of staggering scale. A gentle 110 ramp, for example, would need to stretch at least 70 meters long, requiring tens of thousands of cubic meters of soil to build. The logistics of organizing and feeding the workforce alone would rival that of a small army. Yet the stones are not merely lifted, they are placed with uncanny precision. Aligning multi-ton blocks to within millimeters without cracking them or misaligning their surfaces demands not just strength, but extraordinary control. Were the builders using advanced surveying techniques, counterweights, or sand lift systems now lost to time? Each new study brings us closer to an answer, yet none has fully explained how such precision was achieved. The quarry. Clues in the stone. The Hajar al-Hibla quarry, just a few hundred meters southwest of the temple, provides vital clues. It lies slightly uphill from the platform, a subtle but crucial detail. That means the stones could have been slid or rolled downhill rather than hauled upward, dramatically reducing the effort required. Archaeologists have found evidence of carved channels and ramp traces leading directly toward the temple, suggesting that the terrain itself was engineered for transport. Tool marks preserved in the quarry reveal the sequence of work. Trenches cut along the sides of each block, followed by the insertion of wooden wedges soaked in water. As the wood expanded, it gradually pried the block loose from the bedrock, a slow, controlled process that left behind telltale grooves still visible today. Once freed, the stone could be loaded onto a sledge and moved along a lubricated path with teams of workers guiding its descent. The unfinished stones in the quarry show us the limits of this technique. Cracks or imperfections likely made some blocks too risky to move, and so they were left in place. Far from being evidence of mystery, these abandoned giants are proof of the builder's pragmatism and technical caution. Modern conflict, modern danger Baalbek, is not frozen in time. It stands in a region that has endured centuries of conflict, and recent years have brought new threats. In 2024, nearby airstrikes sent shockwaves through the Bka Valley, damaging Ottoman-era buildings near the site and destabilizing archaeological layers. Although the Roman foundations themselves are resilient, the fragile upper strata, the very layers that hold vital historical context, are vulnerable to even small tremors. Each lost artifact, each disturbed layer, erases clues that could help us finally decode Baalbek's engineering secrets. Heritage organizations are calling for urgent measures: 3D scanning, digital archiving, and international funding to protect the site. Because once those layers are gone, no technology, no AI, no imaging, no reconstruction can truly bring them back. The mystery that endures. The mystery that endures. So what does Baalbek ultimately tell us? It tells us that ancient people were capable of achievements that still defy our easy explanations. It tells us that ambition, faith, and engineering genius can push humanity to its limits and beyond. The Romans and their predecessors at Baalbek may not have possessed machines or steel, but they had time, organization, and vision on a scale we can barely imagine. The Forgotten Stone and the Trilithon are not monuments to mystery. They are monuments to determination. And yet, the mystery persists. We can measure, scan, and simulate, but we still do not fully understand how these megastones were raised, aligned, and fitted so perfectly. Perhaps the secret lies buried beneath the soil. Perhaps it was a technique so ordinary to its inventors that no one thought to write it down. Whatever the answer, Baalbek stands as a reminder of what human hands and human imagination can achieve. It challenges our assumptions, humbles our technology, and invites us to look at the ancient world with renewed wonder. Thanks for watching. If this journey into the mysteries of Baalbek captivated you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more explorations into the lost technologies, forgotten histories, and enduring brilliance of our ancient ancestors.